So we finally got the spoilers for chapter 213 of Blue Lock, and I'm honestly surprised. Blue Lock is not a show that focuses that much on wholesomeness. It is a very cutthroat show in some ways. And so when we do get moments of wholesomeness, like we did get this entire chapter, they are certainly something to enjoy. And especially after the insanity of the last chapter with Isagi finally scoring his first goal, and also the clues that we got for the title of this chapter, which was called EGOIST 4, which left a lot of us speculating. Who are the EGOIST 4? Who are these guys? Are they a separate group? Are they members of the current teams? Well, the answer we get is actually something that I don't think any of us could have predicted, but it is one of the most wholesome answers I've seen. So I can't wait to discuss this with you guys. Let's get into the video. Now, before we get on with the video, I have a really important announcement to everyone who's watching. So, I'm currently working on a lot of exciting Blue Lock content. Stuff like creating my own Blue Lock League featuring custom matches between custom teams that I've made, character ability swap videos where we exchange skills between characters to see how they would grow. We also have the greatest of all time progression series, which I'm working on for Blue Lock. So, I have a lot of exciting content that I'm working on. However, in order to release all these videos, I need access to the YouTube community tab and its features because it would help me conduct polls and make interaction between me and all you guys much easier so that I can ask you guys for suggestions on who you want to see videos on, if there are any custom videos you want me to work on, character polls, and at the same time, which character abilities you want exchanged, who you want me to do a greatest of all time progression series on, so and so, so and so. So, if you want to be an active member of this project and get the ability to choose which custom Blue Lock content you want me to make videos on, then please hit the subscribe button because the YouTube community channel features tab is only given to channels that have 1,000 subs or more. So if you want to see these videos as soon as possible, but also gain the ability to request custom Blue Lock videos, then please subscribe to the channel and help me grow to 1,000 subs as soon as possible so that I can unlock the features and get all these videos out to you guys. To everyone that does subscribe, thank you so much for doing so. I really want to make quality Blue Lock content for everybody, and this just gets me one step closer to doing so. So, thank you guys so much. So, the chapter begins by continuing with the insanity of last time, where Isagi finally scored his first goal in the new Egoist League. And the first few pages are essentially just shocked reactions from everyone on the field. We cut to Ness, and we see that Ness is not just in shock, he's in disbelief at this point. Like, look at his face. He is manic and he has no idea what just happened. Like, he cannot believe that Isagi played him like a fiddle the last chapter. Ness gets so angry here that he straight up starts screaming at Isagi. Now, I don't know what he's saying because we don't have the official translations, but I can assume it's something like, "How the hell did you just do that?" And in response, Isagi just glances at Kunigami, and Kunigami just glances back at Isagi, and both of them exchange a knowing look at each other as we finally go into the flashback when Isagi went to meet Kunigami in the training room. See guys, I told you we were getting a flashback. This is the perfect time to reveal what went down, and we finally get the flashback in this chapter. In the flashback, we see Isagi approach Kunigami, who's in the middle of a major emo lifting session. Isagi explains that he's figured out that his direct shot's weakness is simply the fact that he can only shoot from his right. But since Kunigami went through the wild card and learned to become ambidextrous like Noel Noah, Isagi asks Kunigami to teach him how he can become ambidextrous as well. Kunigami just brushes Isagi off, but Isagi says that Kunigami doesn't really need to train him. It's fine if he just lets Isagi watch how he works out so that Isagi can learn the workouts that Kunigami is doing. Kunigami then tells Isagi not to train like him. He says that doing so will simply remove the current abilities that Isagi has and affect him negatively. Kunigami reminds Isagi that he was actually forced to become ambidextrous in the wildcard, and it was only possible because of Kunigami's muscle mass and frame. So, no matter how much Isagi tries to train like Kunigami, it won't help him. In fact, if he trains like Kunigami, it will completely disrupt his muscle mass and balance, and it will throw him off and potentially make him weaker than he is currently. Isagi then notes that Kunigami is still giving him useful advice and making sure that Isagi doesn't train wrong and he doesn't become worse than he currently is. And Isagi notes that Kunigami, despite all of his emo activity and nature, is still a really good person. So in the next panel, we see Isagi continuing to pester Kunigami, asking him for more tips and training techniques. And Kunigami just straight up looks at Isagi and probably tells him something like, I've given you more than enough to work on. And then, as they are making their way to another training room, both of them run into Chigiri. So Chigiri greets Isagi and Kunigami, and both of them respond in turn. And so, guys, now we actually have a reunion between three OG Team Z players, and this is just quite wholesome to see. The fact that these guys are not trying to devour each other on the field, but now we have a really nice and friendly off the field conversation. Chigiri states that he actually came to speak to Kunigami because Kunigami wouldn't talk to him before their match as well as after their match. Kunigami tells Chigiri not to pester him and just leave him alone. But Chigiri replies, saying that he knows that Kunigami is changed, but he also admits that everyone else is changing too. And he's going to keep an eye on Kunigami, whether Kunigami likes it or not, and he requests that Kunigami keep an eye on him too. Honestly, this is such a wholesome conversation, and I'm really glad that Isagi and Chigiri are still so supportive of Kunigami despite everything that's happened. And as this is going on, we see Bachira show up out of nowhere and hit Isagi in the face with the ball in classic immature Bachira fashion. Chigiri asks Bachira if he came to see Kunigami as well, and Bachira replies that he did, and he also came to see Isagi as well. Bachira states that he watched the Germany versus England match, and it hyped him up so much that ego juice came out of every pore of his body, which sends Isagi and Chigiri into a weird notion of thoughts as they're wondering what the hell ego juice is. Bachira then looks at Kunigami, runs up to him, and straight up jumps on his back as he asks him to train with him. We see that Kunigami is in shock. We see that Bachira is laughing and having fun, and we also see that Isagi and Chigiri are laughing in the background. And it's so wholesome to see all these guys interacting with each other, after everything that's happened. And we do realize that ever since Kunigami came back from the wild card, I don't think all four of these guys have had a chance to actually get together and discuss and talk. So it's nice to see that happening. After Kunigami gets over the shock of Bachira just having jumped on him like that, he goes back to his full on emo persona and tells Bachira to get off. And Bachira just leap vaults over Kunigami. Chigiri states that Kunigami is just a bit irritated at the moment, and he suggests that all of them play 2v2 since everyone's here and they want to improve their skills. Bachira then happily agrees to this suggestion and states that he wants to team up with Isagi. So we get to see the OG pair again. Isagi x Bachira, it's really wholesome to see. Isagi then realizes that he doesn't need a completely new body to change the way he plays. He notes that Chigiri, Kunigami, Bachira all made small changes. It's the minor evolutions that led to big changes in their gameplay styles. And he notes that he doesn't really need to focus on making his body completely ambidextrous. He just needs to find a way to keep the quality of his direct shot while shooting from his left. And he realizes that that is a goal that's worth working towards. And in the next panel, we see Isagi, Chigiri, Kunigami, and Bachira get together to play a 2v2 against each other after so long. And this is where it's revealed that the Egoist 4 is actually Isagi, Chigiri, Bachira, and Kunigami. So there you have it, guys. That's the reveal of who the Egoist 4 are. And I don't know how many of you guessed that was 4 of the OG players from Team Z, but apparently these guys are the Egoist 4, and it is so wholesome to see all these guys practice like they did in the beginning of the manga. Like, I cannot remember the last time all these guys got together and practiced. So it's really wholesome to see. Isaki also states that it was because of this 2v2 game that he got the idea to use his direct shot with his left and keep it as a side weapon of sorts that he can use in specific situations. And that's where the chapter ends, guys. The game continues in next week's chapter, but this week's chapter was more of a small, little wholesome chapter to help us get some time to digest the hype of what happened in the previous chapter, as well as probably what's gonna happen for the rest of this game, because I have a feeling this game is going to be a topsy-turvy ride. It looks like Bastard Butchen's on top right now, but I don't think it's gonna stay that way for long. I feel like Mark Snuffy is gonna do something. He's gonna pull a rabbit out of a hat and completely come up with a strategy to turn the tides their way. I just know it. But anyways, that's it for this spoiler review. Also, if you guys like getting access to the latest updates in Blue Lock, I'm talking spoiler reviews and chapter reviews within hours of the stuff releasing, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. It will be worth your while, I promise you. And finally, to everyone who made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. This is a really small channel. I've just started it, and all your support means a lot to me. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.